In this section, we will set up our remaining component to complete our front-end client-side blog, and that is the edit post component. So as we've been doing, let's go in the blog directory and create a new file called editpost.js. So let's start with our usual imports. We're going to need React and the component class, and Axios, history. We need a text field, button, and the connect from React Redux. And how we're going to set this up is going to be very similar to the add post.js component, except for we're going to have the fields already populated, and our Axios request is going to be a put request instead of a post request. So basically this is just going to be a add post component, but with a few differences. After our imports, we can set up the class with an empty div for now. And we're also going to need the database profile, so let's declare this property in our map_state_to_props function. And finally, don't forget to connect the map_state_to_props to the edit post component. So let's go in our render method and then declare the form. And inside the form, we're going to need our first text field, which will be the title of the post. And after that, we're going to have our body of the post text field. Next, we'll need two pieces of local state to keep track of the changes to the title and body of the post. So let's set that up now. And we're going to set this up in a constructor. And this.state equals JavaScript object and then title of an empty string and then body, and also set it to an empty string. And we'll want to auto populate these title and body local pieces of state. So let's do this in our component didMount method. So let's do component didMount and then this.setState and then title equals this.props.location.state.post.post.title. And again, we've seen this one a couple of times before, and if you didn't see those sections, they're basically coming from our profile.js component, which is the user dashboard, and the edit button. If you see, we pass in the entire post to the link object, which is what allows us to access it here. And we will do the same exact thing for the body of the post as well. And to make sure the text fields are pre-populated, we set the value prop to the local pieces of state. So in our form, in our text field, we go value equals and then this.state.title. And we do the same thing for body as well. And since this is a form and we want to make it a controlled component, we also set the onChange event handler as well. So let's declare the onChange event handler for both of our text fields. And then we can declare the two functions that are going to work with the onChange event handler. So we do handle title change and then remember to pass in the event keyword. And then we do this.setState and we just do the title equals event.target.value. And this will keep track of the changes the user makes to the title and body. And in the next function, we do handle body change and we do the same thing. And now we can pass in the reference to these functions to the onChange event handler. And remember, we're passing in the reference to the function, so don't use an arrow function or call the function here. Simply just pass a reference to it. And of course, we'll also need a handle submit function for this form as well. So let's pass a reference to it first to the onSubmit event. And we'll also need a button of type submit at the bottom. And we'll also need a cancel button, and we can just do history.goback, which goes back to the previous page. So let's now begin setting up the handle submit function. So again, we need the event keyword passed in as a parameter. The very first thing we do is event.prevent default, since we do not want the browser to reload when the user submits this form. Next, we have the user ID and username. And again, we're getting this from the DB profile, the database profile that we got from the PSQL database. And next we have the post ID, which again is available in this entire component because we passed it in to the link element from the profile.js file. And then we access our title and body from the form, and then we save everything in a data variable. And you can just make the name of the property equal to the name of the variable. And then we have our Axios HTTP request. And this is going to be a put request because we're making an edit to the database. We're not posting new information. So if you're unfamiliar, HTTP put request means an edit to the database. So we can make the path API/put/post, and then the second argument is going to be the data variable, we do a .then statement, and we'll just console.log the response because we're not getting any data from the database. The database is just going to send us a status code. And then we do our error handling, and then let's do set timeout and then history replace to the profile component. Because remember, the user is accessing edit post from their profile, their user profile dashboard, and we'll do 700 milliseconds. And don't forget the period in front of the then, like I just forgot right here. So we created that component pretty quickly. Let's just go over and see if we made any small typos and fix them. And yes, we're missing the state keyword in the body of the setState method. And we need the .value property in the title and body variables in the handle submit method. And we're missing an equal sign to the onClick event. And in our import statements, material UI should be RIAL. And component did mount is missing an N. And that's it. We're done setting up the edit post component and our full stack client-side blog. And we just need to do one more thing before we can finally begin testing our app. We need to set up the routes and header, which we'll do in the next section.